Welcome to the Lethal Collective. The one and only Lethal Collective member is here. Fate decided. What's going on?
As long as I show up, we're good.
I noticed you're not wearing green, pal.
Oh yeah, no, it has green. It has green. Sorry.
Okay.
And the back.
Oh.
Come on.
Okay.
No, I mean, you can still pinch me, you cutie.
You'd like that, huh?
I would. Nothing like a good pinch, but.
Oh man. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Get consent before pinching. Anyways, Russell is saying, "What's up, everyone? I stabbed the like button like Ghostface before I came in this awesome stream and chat. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday, Russell. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome. Wayne Turner is here too. What's up?
I was gonna say, do you think like high school students nowadays ask for consent before they pinch somebody? Because like when I was in high school, somebody wasn't wearing green, you just walked up to them and you pinched them as hard as you could, or you slugged them, or you did something, right? Like it was a death sentence if you didn't wear green when I was in high school. But now I can see it being like, you're not wearing green. Is it okay if I pinch you? Like, no, go up and pinch. Condoning violence over here. No, but yeah, I just
don't condone violence.
Yeah, you mentioned that when you were like, you should ask for consent before you pinch somebody. I was thinking about it. I was like, I wonder if people really do that now. I wonder if like somebody walks up and is like, "You're not wearing green. Is it okay if I pinch you?" Like, no, like there was none of that when I was a kid. You walked up and you didn't wear green, and then you get the people that like the rule was when I was a kid, like, so like if you were wearing green and somebody pinched you, then you got to like slug them in the arm or whatever. And so like you'd be creative. You'd wear like a green necklace under, and you'd just wait all day for somebody to like pinch you
to try to do it and just be like, aha,
pull it out. Yeah, something like that, and be like, ah. Or we'd play, or what was you play the coin? Did you ever play the coin game where like you sit with your knuckles and you flick the coin until somebody gives up? Like we used to do all kinds of stuff, or erasers and stuff. We were very, it was a different time. It was a different world.
Did you ever play okay, I'm sorry. Like, I should be saying hello to the chat. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Scream stream where we're going to talk about weird high school things. But
Blanket hello.
Blanket hello. We used to do this thing in high school.
We're talking, okay?
Yeah, we're talking serious business here. We used to do this thing though, where it was like we grab each other's hands like a handshake, and we'd smack the other person's hand as hard as we possibly could. That was miserable. Why we did that, I don't know.
We used to do all kinds of, like I said, you do or like when I was younger, like body shots was a big thing too.
Body shots?
Like you wouldn't actually fight. It was just like, oh, let's go to the alley and just like go have body shots, like, right? Like
those kind of body shots. Okay.
Yeah, like body shots, right? You just like you and your friends would just be in an alley or whatever. You just be fighting, or like you got some guy that like like, oh, I'm not trying to fight. All right, let's go in the alley and do body shots, like.
Because I've done body shots before, but not those kind of body shots.
Body shots where you're like slurping off of a handsome man. I'm talking about like, pause.
Been there, done that.
It's like a fountain. But we used to do all kinds. Like, I don't know. Like I said, it was a different world when I was a kid.
It was much more like. What I will say, it was like my high school experience. It was more chill, but it was still like was still bad. Like, it was still not good. You know what I mean? There are things that like that happened in my to me in high school that like if that happened today, someone would be going to fucking jail or something. It's like it's crazy to think about. And like that's only like I've been out of high school for like 6 years. It's only it's not that far away. You know what I mean?
I've been out of high school for what 14, 15.
You got me beat by a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, it's just teeny tiny. Yeah, it was just like I said. It was just different. It's a different world.
Different world, man. Different world.
We do all kinds of like just stuff. Like you just like do stupid stuff as a kid, or like we do like the slap where you slap them on the back of the neck. Like it was called a rip.
Oh, okay.
So like it was called like if somebody said something stupid, right? Like let's say like like today's Tuesday. Right? It's like, no, it's not. It's Friday, you dummy. Rip, and you like slap the back of their neck and you pull, and then it's like, I don't know. Like we used to just do like that's a rip. Like it was just like, I don't know. We just always had like these like slaying things. I didn't also grow up in like the best. Like I didn't have like the best influences, but yeah, no, we like I was always a good kid, but yeah, we used to, like I say, do stupid shit when you're a kid. It's like
Hey,
whatever you can do to hurt each other, or chew for flinching.
Yeah.
You like just randomly.
Oh yeah.
And then just.
I've been there. Have you ever gotten flash banged? Like, you ever have somebody like they'll come up behind you and like smack both your ears as hard as they can?
Oh no, I've never had anyone do that, but I have seen people do that.
Dude, like that was like in middle school, that was the thing. I'm pretty sure that's why my hearing's really bad in my right ear. Like in my right ear, like I can't, like, I don't know, sometimes I'll be on the phone, I'm like, what? Like I'm like genuinely can't hear what someone says. I almost always like answer the phone on like this side now because like nothing
just
in
have
this
one
ear.
side that's just deaf because of that.
So
no, we used to like also like I played basketball and stuff like that. So like we'd always like do the dunk on. Like so like let's say there was a sign and you were walking under the sign, I would just like run full speed and just like put my nuts on your back and just like hit the top of the thing.
Oh,
and body with homies. And I mean punches, not the weird way. Nathan's just taking body shots with his homies.
You don't do body shots in the bathroom with your what? I do this every Friday night. Come on. What do you think I'm doing later today?
Don't got the tequila today, but we got the water. Let's go. Like,
that's lame. Water body shots? Come on. Come on. That's so funny.
No, I get you. Yeah, like you go to the bathroom or something like that, or you get like the kid that thinks he's tough, acting all hard. Like, all right, like all right, let's go to the bathroom and do body shots. And then like 2 punches in, they're like, all right, stop. It's like, all right, I don't ever want to hear you talk shit again. Like. So yeah, it was always those things.
Angie put another weird one in the chat. I remember people would do the corn dog. It's called the corn dog, which I'm sorry. That's like terrifying to me. If someone said they're going to corn dog me during my middle school days, where somebody would literally knee your butt. That's horrible, Angie. Oh my God. That might be worse than a flashbang. I think that actually might be worse. Yeah. That's terrible. What the fuck? Kids are fucking awful. That's what we've concluded in the first 7 minutes of our Scream stream here. But anyways,
yes,
maybe we'll get a little more on track here. So Chunky Jordy is saying the pictures I've seen of Ethan reminds me of Corey Cunningham with the hair and everything. Did you get a Corey Cunningham vibe from Ethan in this movie?
I mean, I could see the connection, the reference, just kind of the like aesthetic look for it. I mean, Corey Cunningham had more significance. Like, how did you like? Did you like Ethan's character?
Here's my thing. I thought they were serviceable. I thought him and Quinn were serviceable. I like in my rankings for the Ghostface killers, I ended up putting them like really low. Like personally, I had it as there's 14 Ghostfaces. I count Jason and Greg. I've seen some people say they don't count Jason and Greg. But like I put those two at the bottom, and then I put Ethan and Quinn above them because I'm like, they're fine, but they don't like, and they have some good moments, but it's nothing where I'm like, oh fuck, best Ghostface ever. No, I don't know. Yeah. Nothing about them is really like big standout to me. You know what I mean? Detective Bailey, different story. His performance is a little goofy at the end, but the build up is really well done.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to include Jason at least, right? Because he actually had a kill, right? So I mean, Greg, I can understand, like, because I've had people like, because I've been like, oh yeah, there were 5 killers. I mean, technically there were 5 killers, and when people have been like, yeah, but Greg didn't really kill anybody. Like, okay, that's a fair point. I can understand that. If you want to put it that way. I mean, he was the accomplice. He probably would have killed somebody. I mean, it just depends on perspective. It just depends on how you go about it. But what were you gonna say something?
I was also going to say, like, I counted everybody who's seen as a villain because, like, you could also look at, like, Sam as a ghost face. You could make that argument, but, like,
she put the costume on and killed somebody.
Yeah, so, like, does that make somebody a ghost face killer? I say no. Like, me personally, I just think everyone who's a villain who is wearing a ghost face costume and gets revealed at some point. Like, that was my criteria, So, I don't know. Yeah. That's just my... And Greg would have been that, essentially. So, just my thoughts.
Yeah, but I just... So like Quinn, I still wasn't like completely sold on her as Ghostface, but I thought she had some memorable moments. Like I thought she had some good, like she had a couple, comedic relief moments, stuff like that. I felt she was more like they did a better job of just having her front and center, right? I felt Ethan was like almost non-existent in this movie. Like, you know, he had very few lines. Like the scenes didn't really establish him very much. Like I felt like it was very lackluster. Like he was like the character that like dies early on in the film is kind of what it felt like. I almost felt like they were better off killing Ethan off as a fake death and having Quinn continue on because they just established her so much better. And Ethan was just like most of the scenes you have, he's just quiet standing there, like in the group, or like they're just, you know, oh, get away from us, killer. And he's like, I'm not the killer. Like, you know, and then like that's his only lines. Like he said, like, I'm not the killer like 5 times in the movie. And like those were like his only lines in those scenes.
You know, I like, once again, I'm not like, oh fuck, Ethan's my favorite. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, whatever about him. But what I will say, kind of defending him a little bit, is I think he has some memorable moments in the film, like especially in the third act. But I will say, I really like when he gives all the napkins to Sam. And he's like, I don't have a towel, but here's 3 napkins. You know, it's funny. It's like, okay, that's a really good moment. And then she's kind of just standing there all upset, like just like fucking pissed off. And it's nice. In that moment, I was like, oh, maybe this guy's maybe this is a nice character. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I kind of like Ethan for now, you know, but he has some moments. They should have killed him, though. I'll be honest. He shouldn't have been a Ghostface.
I think he should have been the fake death, or they should have killed him, because I think he would have made more sense.
What if he got killed on the subway? Like on the subway instead of Mindy getting stabbed?
Yeah, exactly. I think that would have made more sense. But also, I agree with Blucka where he says you knew more about Jason than Ethan or Quinn. I really do. Like, I felt like they established Jason more than both of them. Like, Quinn had some good quality moments, don't get me wrong. But like Jason, you got established who he is. Okay, he wants to finish the movie, right? He wants to finish Richie's movie. You know, he's had this like desire to kill him and Greg, and like, you know, but like they've been hesitant up until this point. So they're working their way up to kill Sam and Tara, right? Because that's their angle. Like they established Jason as like, okay, this is his character. This is who he is. This is his motive. This is what drives him. He has his accomplished Greg. They did all that really well. And then we get to like Quinn. Quinn's like the slutty girl that it just has like funny jokes from time to time. And you get like 3 scenes with her, and then she's the fake out death. So you don't really get to like the only
that
thing
was kind of purposeful though. Like with Quinn, yes. I think it was a little more purposeful because like the whole idea is that she's supposed to. She's like, oh, she's an early kill. That's all she is. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh wait, actually she's the killer. You know? So I get why they did that with Ethan. His actual introduction, I think, should have been better, but it is fitting. Like the first time we see him, he's at the party with Chad, right? And they're like trying to pick up some girls, and they're like, oh hey, my friend's single, and she's like, the girl's kind of like, okay, whatever. And then Ethan's like, is that a bad thing? And Chad's like, no, you're fine, man. That it's very fitting with his character. Like he's not on screen long, but like everything they wanted to accomplish with Ethan, I think got done in the movie. Like the whole idea is that he's kind of an incel. He kind of, has this like he wants to get laid. He's a virgin and all that, but like he's pretty fucking terrible at talking to women, and then some of the awful shit that comes out of his mouth doesn't really help with that either. So I think they accomplished everything they wanted to do with it, but it's nothing new for this franchise. Like Charlie did that in Scream 4, 12 years ago. Yeah. So I just was like, I liked it. It was like well executed in my opinion, but it was nothing new. It didn't feel like anything where I was like, they expanded upon something from the past. Nah, it was kind of just the same thing again. And it's fine. It's serviceable. I don't hate it, but like, I do agree that I feel like I knew more about Jason overall, but that's also because you get a reveal immediately. You get his motive immediately. You get him talking about this very personal experience he had killing another human being. So we learned a lot more about him in a very quick amount of time, opposed to Ethan, who's concealing his identity, trying to play this character amongst this friend group. I didn't rig the roommate lottery. I didn't do that. You know what I mean? I think it's the way he was set up, like the way it was done, if that makes sense. Which a little tougher to build a character, especially with that third. This movie moves so quickly, So it's tougher to talk more about a character, especially in that really fast moving third act. Carrie Craves Cinema is throwing $10 in there though. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie.
We appreciate it. Matt, we actually can pay our editor now, so thank you, Carrie. Saying, first of all, I virtually pinch you both.
That's it.
He's got green on too. He's got mushrooms.
Mom told you when I wear this badge, you're supposed to respect me.
Oh, good old Doofy. But Carrie's also saying, and also Quinn versus Ethan, who do you think was a better Ghostface? I like Quinn much better. She took the brick like a champ. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you, Carrie. But so you like Quinn better though, Tyler?
Yeah, I do. I mean, yeah, I felt like they should have done a better job to establish them more. Like, I get your point. Like, they were trying to mask them for the end. But the problem is I just felt like you never, like, Dermot Mulroney, I felt like you got a good feel of his character more so than Quinn and Ethan. I just felt like at the end, like, you have Ethan as like this, yeah, I get it, like this incel, like shy, quiet kind of guy. But then at the end, he's like the complete opposite, right? He's like outgoing.
Yeah.
He's like this mastermind. I was able to rig it. I tricked you all type thing. And it's like, so what is he? Is he this like outgoing kind of guy, or is he just like, so he was just playing an act? Okay, that's fine. So, but like, then we have no grounds for his character. Like, you have nothing, you have no basis for his character, right? Like, Quinn was still sleeping around and screwing dudes and like doing stuff. So, I mean, like, at least, okay, like she's the promiscuous, there's always that girl in college that's just like, she's explored herself. Okay, that's great. But like, even then it's like, okay, like, what is she outside of that? Like, what kind of I mean, she's a psychotic serial killer. Yes, obviously. But it's like, you didn't get any development with them. Like, it was like,
I think, like, I do agree that's the weakest part of the movie is who our ghost faces end up being. Like, like I said, the only one I was really impressed by was the detective. Because, like, in my opinion, it's, I feel like I guess I'm the only person who feels this way, but I think that the detective character is, besides Jill, the best family oriented killer we've gotten. Like, I feel like it's set up really well. It's basically the same thing as Mrs. Loomis, but there's more to it. It's not just, you killed my baby boy. There's more to it than just that. And I like that. Yeah. But the problem I have with the third act, like the biggest issue I have with it is, it's just, they kind of just did 3 killers to do 3 killers. And I think in the moment it was really fucking cool, but I'm just like, I really want to see, like, I don't know. 3 killers. What I'm noticing the issue is with it is that there's these 2 characters usually that are so well developed and so well done, at least in the first film, I think. Maybe not so much in the other sequel. Well, Scream 5. I don't know. It's tough to say. But I think the issue with it was they just didn't have enough time to set up like 3 really good killers where, like, look at Scream 1 where Stu and Billy are like, oh my God, these are really good characters. And when both of them end up being the killers, it's like they kind of turn, but they still have all those really nice idiosyncrasies attached to them. I didn't feel that as much it's harder to do with 3 people. You know what I mean? It's hard to do with 1 person, let alone 3. So I see that as an issue with this movie, but it was like, it's one of those things where I'm just happy they tried it. I'm just happy they attempted to do it.
No, yeah.
But now that we've actually seen it, we can critique it and be like, oh, maybe there's a better way to do 3 killers. Maybe there's a better way to do your cult of Ghostface or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where I feel like you can't set up 3 antagonists at the same time. It's the Spider-Man 3 problem all over again. You know what I mean? You throw too much shit out there and not all of it's going to land. But if you have one really well executed thing, that's just going to be better. That is definitely the weakest part of the movie. But like I said, I just still love this movie. I have so much fun with it every time.
Like I said, I like the movie. I just like, one thing is that, like, you're right about critiquing, right? Like, that's a big thing too. And like, I even said this in one of my videos that I posted where, I was like, a lot of people are upset that, like, I have criticism for the movie, but look at what they took that criticism from 5 and they fixed it in 6. So why wouldn't you want to criticize some things and elements of this movie? So maybe they fix it. That's how you improve. That's how you get better, right? If you just say the movie sucks, then that's not constructive criticism.
Yeah, then you're just being a jackass. But you're like, you're throwing good things out there. Yeah,
explaining what is wrong, what there is, then it makes things easier for them to go, oh, okay, they're right. I see that. Let's correct that. Let's course correct that. Like with the 3 killers. My only thing is, like, and I do get, like, it is harder with 3 killers, but like, I felt like all the other movies, really like, you got to know who the killers were better, and they were still those same people at the end. Like even even Charlie, right? Charlie, like, even when he became the Ghostface and got the Ghostface reveal, he was still this, like, he was still the quiet, like, hey, yeah, we need to go get, like, he was the same guy. Like, you established he's like this movie buff that's very, like, you know, kind of dorky, kind of like quiet, kind of just like, yeah, you know, whatever. And he was still that. He was still like, the reason he even became a Ghostface was because he was simping for Jill the whole time, and you know, Jill was throwing her thing at him, and that was getting enough to get him to do what she wanted to do. Like, they established who he was, and he was still that character, right? Like, same thing with like, you know, even Richie. Like Richie, Richie was like this guy, like, he was even at the.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on. I'm sorry. I'm like, to your point real quick. Yeah. I think they did that with Ethan, but I don't think they did that with Quinn. Like, and hear me out. Just hear me out 2 seconds.
Yeah. No.
They set up, and it's kind of weird because they set up both of these characters in a similar way. They both have like this sexual thing going on, like one way or the other. Yeah. Quinn's getting a bunch, Ethan's not getting anything. But then with Ethan, I feel like that goes somewhere in the third act, which is, it's all lead up to his kill, and what Jenna Ortega had, you know, she has that hilarious line right at the end there about like, you're gonna die a virgin, bam, right in the mouth. Oh, but that doesn't really go anywhere with Quinn. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish they would have set up, like, here's my point. If they're going to set up Ethan for a death, essentially, for just a really cool killer death, that was the point of his character, and that was about it. You know what I mean? They should have done the same thing with Quinn. Because they didn't really do that. You know what I mean? They were kind of just like, oh, she's this promiscuous character who she's sleeping with some dude, which we literally never see until he's dead in a bathtub. I don't know. I'm like, you could have, like, here's the thing. If you're going to have those characters be so minimal, and you're not going to set them up the same way as like your Charlies, your Stu Mockers, you're not going to set them up like the typical accomplice. At least do something. That's the only reason I put Quinn below Ethan, because I feel like they set up Ethan really well to be a standout kill. Because however you feel about it, that kill's fucking awesome, dude. Like the knife in the mouth and then the TV pushed on his head. That's great. That's so much fun. I love it. And that to me was where his character was building up to. It was less about the reveal. It was more about the actual kill itself. With Quinn, I feel like the whole thing they were trying to set up is that she didn't really die, and she's alive. Spiral did that 2 years ago and did not fool anybody. So I don't really know why that was. I really don't know why they implemented that into here. Like I said, I still like the third act. I think the third act's getting a lot of shit, but the Ghostface reveal itself, yeah, I'll give you that. It's the weakest part of the whole movie. It's probably the weakest mystery.
One more thing too is like, why wasn't Ethan wearing Stu's mask? Why did you have a kill?
Yeah,
like,
that'd be more fitting.
Quinn wear the Mrs. Loomis mask.
Yeah,
and then had Ethan wear the Stu mask, and then you would have had the Stu death, and then all would have been right. It was like, oh, like they point out which mask they're wearing, and then you purposely had in the movie the exact same kill as Stu to point out that Stu is actually dead, and like that was the whole point. That was the whole message. Was like the confirmation as well as the type of kill, but he wasn't wearing Stu's mask. Like that just made me. It still drives me crazy. Like it does. It drives me crazy. It's like nobody made that connection. Like none of the writers were like, oh, we should probably do that. Like it's just like I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, that's just again some of it is nitpicking, but still, like just drives me crazy.
But to me, it felt like they were setting up these accomplice characters just for that, because that's really all they had time to do. You know, if you like from the get-go, you're like, we're gonna have 3 killers, then yeah, I see that being an option, being like, okay, well, listen, we don't have time to develop these characters into full-blown, you know, people with different motives and all that, because that third act would be 3 hours long. That would be insane. I get that, but I feel like they should have just set up Quinn and Ethan a little better. Personally, I like them. I think they both,
or at least Ethan, at least Ethan, because Quinn died, right? As far as we know, right? So okay, she didn't have enough time to get the character developed. So Quinn ends up being the fake kill off. Okay, I can get behind that. That's why we didn't get development for her character. So then you should have taken the time to develop and build Ethan, and they didn't. They failed to do that. Like that is where my problem lies, is that like you didn't have to build up 3 characters. You only had to build up 2. And you couldn't even build up both of them. Like you built up Dermot Mulroney's character, Detective Bailey. I thought that was fine. You saw the connection. You built up that like the family connection. You did that. much better than Scream 2 did. Like, and you know, with the calls from Richie, all that stuff, like that was great. Okay, cool. But like, I just felt like you had a real chance to build Ethan through this, and like we didn't really get to know anything. Like, how do we know? Like, he played this role to deceive everybody to end up being at the end. Like, is he really a virgin? Is he really that guy? Maybe he's, you know, over here Mac Daddy just laying pipe all over the place.
Oh,
and,
no.
You know,
No,
he's living his best life. You know what I mean? Like, because he was a completely different person in Act 3. He wasn't this, like, he was calm, cool, collected, like, I got you guys, I tricked the lottery, all this stuff. Like, he was the complete opposite of the character we saw in the film. And then, you know, Tara has the line of like, well, now you're gonna die a virgin. Like, is he? Like, or was that all just part of the game? Was that all part of the con where he's trying to earn Chad's trust and trying to have Chad build him? Like, it just, I don't know, it's just kind of conflicting to me.
I mean, I don't think I don't mistake insanity for Riz, as the kids are saying. You know what I mean? Like, dude, he's confident at the end there, but like, I think that's also out of anger and like, because his motive is the same as Detective Bailey's. All three of them, they all have the same motive, which is a kind of a sort of a new thing, I think, for the Scream franchise. Like, yes, in the last movie it was like they both had the same motive. Typically there's two motives. Sometimes that muddies things up, though. I actually kind of like that Amber and Richie they have the same motive. Here's why we're doing it. Okay, let's move on. You know what I mean? It's like, that totally works for me. In this movie, I do agree. I think there should have been a little more depth with all three of the characters, because it just felt to me that they really wanted to do three killers and they didn't really know how to execute that right. They kind of executed it in the same way that they did the last movie, where they all just have the same motive. They're all just there for the same reason. In this one, I feel like they should have had, honestly, I think Ethan's motive should have just been like, I want to bone Tara. You know what I mean? That would have worked. And sure, it's something we've done in the past, and that was kind of part of it. But it was definitely more about like, we want revenge for killing Richie and all that. They probably should have focused a little more on the motive. But I don't know. To me, it's like, is that a weak spot in this movie? Yes. Is this a perfect sequel? Yeah. Is this a perfect movie? Is this a masterpiece amongst other movies? Is this a 2001 slasher movie? No. Like, it's not.
Yeah. No.
This movie opens up the door to doing weirder Scream movies, though, and that's why
it does.
Listen, people want to laugh at me. People want to say this is ridiculous, but I promise you, this is the future of the franchise. We are going to get weirder movies like this. This is the Jason Lives of our franchise, where we finally step into some really crazy new territory, and then we're moving forward with some crazier ideas. Me personally, I'm so pumped for the future of the franchise. I saw this movie and walking out of the theater, I'm like, finally, that is what this fucking franchise is needed. They needed something like this to get the ball rolling on the crazier ideas. Every other time we've approached a Scream movie, it's been same old formula. You know, I love Scream 5. It was a blast, really good time, but I definitely like this movie more. And I'm very excited to see what they do next. What other weird thing are they going to tap into? Are they going to do the cult thing? Are they going to do a whole movie where it's just from a Ghostface's perspective? Are we going to do multiple scenes where multiple Ghostfaces are coming in and stabbing people? Like, this opens that doorway. And if we didn't have this movie, that idea that I'm pitching you right now would be such foreign, like that would be like a crazy foreign thing to even suggest. But now with people loving this movie, people are going fucking bananas over Scream 6, whether you loved it or hated it. That opens up the door to these weirder ideas.
I just like, because like I said, I mean, we talked about like with Jason, like I would have rathered, like, I think that they should have established him instead of Ethan. Should have went that route. Because like, look at it like this. Okay, you had Jason, who killed Samara, wanted to take out Sam and Tara, right? Like, you could have had that Ghostface, who was Detective Bailey, show up, take out Greg, go to take out Jason, and go, do you still want to kill Sam and Tara? And that's the team up. So now we have an established Ghostface from the beginning. You have an established Ghostface from the beginning. So now you get the perspective of him. You get to see him in the friend group. You already know his character, because again, they built his character much better than they built Ethan.
I don't know.
That would have been such a much better perspective. Like, you know, because his whole motive was to finish Richie's movie, right? So he could have been the patsy Okay, like I'm gonna let you finish the movie. I'm gonna help you finish the movie. At the end, you have the big reveal. Jason, the warehouse and everything is in Jason's name. So you have all that stuff. You have all that tie-in. And then at the end, Dermot like, oh, this is the accomplice. He wants to finish what my son wanted to do. Blah 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 blah. And you have like Quinn, who's the family tie-in. You have the Patsy that they're just gonna kill and frame and be the bad guy. Everything's in his name. It just would have been a much better setup. It would have been just a much better story.
I don't know. For me, I think the whole point of Jason is that he's kind of lame. He's kind of like, it feels repetitive. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so they have literally the same motive as the last movie. Like if they did end up being the killers, I would have just been like, well, this is just Richie and Amber again. And they didn't add anything.
But that's not the main motive. That's his motive for why he's involved. The main motive is still the same motive. It's just he's the fall guy, right? Just like Jill, like you had Charlie who had a completely different motive than Jill. Almost all of them had different motives, right? I mean, even Stu had a different motive than Billy did. Stu was shocked that Billy even had a motive. He just thought they were killing people, and he was shocked. I mean, Scream 5, yes, Richie and Amber had the same motive, but outside of that, they've all basically had the same motives. And I think it would have made sense at the end that like, oh, he's the patsy, he's the fall guy.
I think what's interesting about Screams 1, 2, and 4 is that both of the killers technically do have different motives. Like Stu, like you said, he kind of like when he's asked like, why are you doing it? He's like, well, I got peer pressured into it. He's doing it because Billy's basically forcing him to do it. Like maybe he likes horror movies too. He talks about how much he likes horror movies at one point, but it's still like, it's more about the fact that Billy probably forced him to do it. And that's pretty fucked up. Yeah. Billy's motive is plain and simple. You fucking cheated on, the whole fucking dad situation, that whole thing. And but it works. You know what I mean? It's like, here's two conflicting motives and here's why these killers are working together. And then you see the plan fall apart right in front of your face. It's wonderful. Yeah. I think I don't think I wanted two motives again here. Like it's tough because I think with three killers, you should have two motives, but I just don't know if I want exactly the same thing as the last movie again. That's my issue with it. I think like the whole point of him saying that at the beginning of the movie, it's like, we're here to finish Richie's movie. I was digging that opening scene and then I heard that and I'm just like,
yeah, but you got the same motive as Scream 2. Like, so it's not.
But but they build upon it. It's not just the same thing.
Yes, they built it better, but they could have built Jason better because Jason would have been a completely different story. We would have gotten a killer.
He would have just been sucking Richie's dick the whole time. He would have been like, God, Richie's this. Oh, he's such a he knows the franchise better than anybody. And it's like, I don't know if I want the same thing again. I know, right? Everyone's I can already feel it. I'm not even looking at the chat, but I know someone's saying like, but the motives just Scream 2, but it's not. Oh my God, they build upon Richie as a character. They build upon the family aspect so much more, in my opinion. I don't know. Me personally, it's night and day versus Mrs. Loomis and Detective Bailey. Like there's so many big differences that it works for me. I feel like if they would have focused on Jason, it just would have been exactly.
He had to be the focus. I'm not saying he had to be the focus. What I'm saying is he could have had the same exact role as Ethan. It's not like Ethan was like a huge focus. You would have established him early on. And then he would have just kind of been the friend that blended in and just kind of building up for the opportunity to kill him. You give him a couple lines or whatever. Maybe everyone thinks he's the killer. All that stuff. We as the audience, we know he's the killer. We know that he's involved. It just you don't need to play into that he's the Richie clone. We already know that because they established that in the beginning. So you don't have to keep being repetitive with it.
But even like Mickey, like let's look at Mickey for a second. Like a lot of people look at him and they're like, okay, I guessed it was Mickey from the get-go. He's basically your Billy Loomis stand-in, but he's not. He has a totally different motive. He's there for a completely different reason, even though yes, he is a little obvious as a killer. But then, what the twist ends up being. But his whole motive is he's like, I'm a serial killer for hire. I love killing people and I want to get in trouble, blame it on the movies, and then I'll get away scot-free. Like that's the crazy shit that's going on in his brain. And that's so different from the first movie. And it's a great sequel motive. But once again, I feel like that's underdeveloped, which is a shame. But here, I think the biggest thing that's underdeveloped for 6 is definitely our side characters. But killing Jason in that beginning, I wouldn't want to sacrifice that. That is at this point for me, the highest point of the movie is the opening scene. And I love it. Like it is so fucking immaculate. If we sacrifice anything from the movie, I would just want it to be from literally anywhere else. Like I almost feel like you could have done this movie with two killers, Detective Bailey and Josh Segarra as your second character with a different motive. and then just played that out differently. Because that would have
Josh Segura.
No, go ahead. That's all I was gonna say.
Speaking of Josh Segura, I still think that they could make him tied into this. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they he was too nice,
man, way too nice.
And his like I think that could be something like that. That was the tie-in that he's involved in 4, or some degree, or maybe he was involved with Tony's character. I don't know why I just blanked on his name. But anyway, maybe Jason. Thank you. Yeah, maybe he's tied. Maybe he was tied into Jason, and that's why he was getting close to Sam, and now he's like in her guts, and
maybe maybe there was maybe there was supposed to be 3 killers in their perspective too.
In their perspective, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could have some tie-in. That could be pretty interesting. See?
And what if okay, Nathan, I'm so sorry. We're gonna get to the super chats,
Nathan,
but this is a great, like, this conversation's great. What if like the whole idea, because like the whole thing that Jason talks about, he's like, I want to get used to killing people. I want to start doing this. Like, let's finish Richie's movie. What if part of that, remember, they're rich kids, don't forget that. What if part of that is they hired like some mercenary essentially to like do the killings for them, but then they're like, well, wait a minute, we're men too, Greg. He says, as being a greasy loser, and is like, let's start killing people, let's do it ourselves. And maybe they fire him. They're like, fuck you, Josh, whatever. Shouldn't say that to a paid serial killer, but hey, what if they go and they just go and they're like, we're going to do it ourselves. We can still build upon that for Scream 7. And I am so fucking down for that. That would be so interesting to me to have a returning character come back.
He would have known that from his perspective, because then it's like, well, why didn't he just kill Sam when he had the chance? Well, because he would have known that Greg and Jason died,
but then he has no idea.
Killer running around.
Yes, and he has no idea what the fuck is going on now, because he's like, wait, they're dead? Like, what? So what's going on?
So there's another killer that's running aroround, so now he can kind of play. So one, it's his way out. He's like, okay, let me,
fuck,
I can, nobody knows that I was involved. So, and you could even play that. I mean, they could even do what they wanted to do originally in Scream 5. Remember where Jill lived, and then there was a killer who knew his secret. Maybe you could do something like that to where Josh Segura's character, Danny, he's technically the Ghostface that got away. They have he's like, somebody knows his secret, and he's like, pick it up. And maybe that's why he gets back involved. They're like, I know your secret. I have the proof. I can prove it. You're going to help me. Right. And he's like, well, I don't want to go to prison. So yeah, sure, I'll help you. Like, and that could be maybe his motive. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could go about that. But
dude, I'm telling you, if anybody can play Danny Johnson from the video games, it's Josh Segura. I mean, he would be great in that role personally. So I'm so about that. I hope they do something crazy like that. That would be fucking sweet. But anyways, Nathaniel Fincher is throwing $2 in there. Thank you so much, Nathaniel, saying the final Ghostface should have escaped unmasked. Now,
maybe they did. See, we just talked about that.
Maybe they did. Maybe.
Character.
Why'd they keep him alive? They could have killed him. There was many opportunities where they could have killed him.
Yeah, they did. They had opportunities, and he was just kind of like, he was so like, I understand. Like, there was no fight in anything. Like, when he was trying to get involved and get inserted, he was just
way too nice.
I get it. No worries. I get it. Like, So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, the like Derek had the proper reaction. Like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, you think I'm involved? Like, I we're sleeping together. We're this, like, I don't know. It's something interesting, but I do wish that we did get an unmasked killer. Yeah.
If I genuinely, if I could change one thing about the movie, like just a small thing, like if you were like, Jake, okay, you get to change one thing about Scream 6. What is that going to be? Sam keeps the mask at the end of the film. Like, why would they just closed that storyline? They killed all the potential with that, in my opinion, right there. That's why I feel like this is such a final sequel. Like, it just like Scream 5's ending, it doesn't feel like there needs to be more story now. And I don't know. Why? Like, I don't know. I'm like, this is such a cool story. Keep it going. Like, I feel like we haven't seen the end of this story yet. And yet the end of this film, once again, just feels so like, that's it. That's the end. There we go. We're done, I don't know.
Well, there's rumors that Scream 7 is supposed to be its own thing, so it might have been that way. Like, they're gonna continue with the characters that survived, but it's supposed to be its own thing. Like, it's not gonna be a Sam tie-in. So this might have been the end of the Sam arc. Does that mean she dies in Scream 7 now? Yeah, that's something else.
I listen, man. I don't know. I think it would have been really cool if she just kept the mask. And you don't like listen, if you don't want to make her the Ghostface killer, that's totally fine. But I just think that idea of like she still like has this in the back of like she has this in her closet somewhere wherever she lives next. You know, obviously they're getting out of New York after this bullshit, but like what like I don't know, to me it's like you just killed all that potential of her maybe going Ghostface again, you know? I don't know. I think it would have been cool personally, but I don't know. It just the only thing that really bugs me about the movie is really that like Chad lived cool. I love Chad. Chad's awesome, you know, but I don't know. Well, I'm over it. Nathaniel, thank you for the $2 though. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Denisha's also throwing $5 in there saying, Fate, Ethan is Ghostface. What did you expect from the character if it's Ghostface? They should have gotten killed if the Ghostface was right.
No, I'm not talking about him being killed. Like, that's fine. What I'm talking about is his character development, his story as a character. It was really lackluster. I mean, me and Jake went over all of that. And, you know, in our kind of consensus is, like, without going on, you know, rehashing that entire rant, like, the consensus between us seems to be that, like, it was just underwhelming at times, right? Like, they could have done a better job. Like, I'm just not
blown away, you know? I'm just not blown away by him.
He was just there. Right, like where in past Scream movies, the killers were prominent, right? They were focused, they were developed, they were, you know, I mean, think of Billy and Stu, think of, you know, Mrs. Loomis wasn't greatly developed, but at least she was there. At least she had moments, she had lines. They kind of kept sprinkling her in. It was like you constantly were reminded that this is a character. Mickey, yes, he was kind of there in a moment, and then the back half he wasn't. But in those moments, they established him great. He's this like, you know, film buff, you know, just obsessed with films, rivals Randy. You know, he looks like a killer. He's a little suspicious. He's constantly manipulating Sydney. You just see him constantly in her ear, like. I mean, even just simple stuff that people overlook, like Derek showing up to pick her up at the theater. Mickey staged that and set it up. Mickey was supposed to go pick her up and went in the Ghostface costume, showed up at the theater, stalked her, scared her a little bit, knowing that immediately that Derek was going to come and pick her up, and he had an alibi that he was going to vouch. So now Sydney immediately thinks, oh, Derek, it has to be Derek. Ghostface was just here and now he's gone. Was that real? Was it not? And now all of a sudden she starts questioning Derek so much that he gets killed. You established Mickey. You established the character. Roman. You had scenes with Roman, right? He's this kind of like, you know, dorky film guy that, you know, is this a sign? This has got to be a sign. Like, you know, like all that stuff. Scream 4. Charlie is the film buff. He's there. You get scenes with him. He's kind of awkward. He's kind of, you know, crushing on. They develop those characters. Ethan's just kind of there. He's just like, he has like 3 lines.
Well, once again, I feel like I just feel like the whole goal with him was a smaller box than what they were trying to do with Charlie. Like, does that make sense? Like, I just feel like it's just a smaller thing. Like they were literally just setting up a really cool death for the 3rd act. And that's okay. Like that is okay with a killer, in my opinion. That's fine. But it wasn't as developed as when you had like 2 killers who end up being going Ghostface. You know,
but that's why I'm saying, like, you should have killed. Why not have Ethan be the fake death? Why not have him be the fake out death? Because they established Quinn better.
I mean, I guess you have a point, but...
and then you still could have had the fake death, and then you still could have had the epic death at the end with Ethan. Like, you had his fake death, it was staged, it was BS, whatever, and then you had
Quinn
the
and
real
Ethan
death.
are like very interchangeable to me, though. That's why I guess I don't really, because they're very much so similar. Like I said, like they both have like this sexual thing going on. They're both very similar characters in a way. But opposites, you know what I mean? Like they're opposite, like on what their problem is, what they're dealing with. It's like this kind of the same like avenue, but totally different. You know, like he's not getting any, Quinn is getting a lot, and she's just like, okay, you know, I want to move on. You know, this guy likes me too much. Like, let's move on. Like they're totally opposite problems in kind of the same category. So to me, I guess that doesn't bug me as much because they're such the same character, you know, but in totally different ways. But I don't know. Yeah. I also don't like the fake out death thing. Like I said, like, I mean, the moment that happened, I was like, oh, she's the killer with her father, because Spiral did that literally 2 years ago. Like it's the same twist. I don't know. To me, that bugs me a little bit personally, because I literally just saw, like, anyone who watches horror movies literally just saw that 2 years ago. So it's weird that they hit on that exact same thing. So that bugs me a little bit.
And like Ethan killed nobody. Like nobody. Who did Ethan kill?
I don't think he killed anybody personally.
Yeah, Detective Bailey did all. Like Ethan is the most pointless Ghostface we've ever had. Like literally. Like when you really think about it, you really break it down. I mean, he's
like I said, he ranks pretty low for me.
Ever had.
But come on. He ranks pretty low for me. You're right. But like, dude, you got to admit that kill at the end. I mean, listen, as far as Ghostface deaths go, I think that's one of the better ones out there. How he gets murdered.
I mean, it was a cool kill, but like that has nothing to do with his character. That has to do with like, you know, the way in which he was killed. Like his character, like as far as Ghostface goes, Ghostface is still like he's a terrible. You can make an argument legitimately that he didn't kill anybody. Who did he kill? Quinn was the one in the train. Anybody, Quinn was the one at the. The reason they killed her was so that way she could go and get to Gail and get on the train with Ethan there. Like Ethan literally did nothing. The only person that he maybe even stabbed was Chad, and he lived. Like, so Ethan killed nobody, right? I mean, and his motive, like. You know, I was, you know, because everyone thought it was him. He says, I was in a class with 100 people. There's no way he's going to make that up when everybody thinks it's him. Everyone believes that he's the killer. And you think he's going to risk?
Yeah. I think the whole point of it was that like to me, and I guess the reason I'm fine with it, like it's not, I'm not saying it's perfect. Once again, it's not perfect. My thing about it with Ethan as a character is I feel like he's the decoy. Like, say what you will about all three of the ghost faces and be like, okay, yeah, they're a little lackluster in the third act. But I think the coolest thing about it to me is that they all serve a different role. Like Quinn, they set up from the get-go that she was going to die, so to say. So everyone thought she was dead, and then you couldn't figure out who the killer was when Gail gets attacked on the other side of town, when literally all of our other characters are here on this side of town. So they had that set up. So they knew what they wanted Quinn to do, and then Ethan's our decoy. Ethan is purposefully, like, yeah, he's a decoy. He's purposefully like put all the attention on him. So then Detective Bailey can be hidden in plain sight. We're not even looking at him really. He's still a little suspicious, which is maybe the only fault in that whole plan. But I get it. Like they all have a role, and I appreciate that. That I think is really well done. But I do agree. If I wanted to go back and look at my ranking, I think I would put Ethan even lower. I think I would put Tony Revolori above him. You convinced me, honestly. I'm like, yeah. No, he's
also lame. ZZM. Ethan did not kill Anika. If you listen to Detective Bailey's dialogue, he explains how that whole sequence went down. He was the one that was there because he switched the bodies. Him and Quinn. Like he tells you, if you listen to his dialogue, he says, and Ethan was already. He was out and about with 100 people at a clash.
Why would he say that? Yeah, why would he say that?
Yeah, he's not going to lie about something because literally 100 people, you could ask one of those 100 people, and if any of them say no, then that's it. He didn't. Literally, Ethan killed nobody. There's like they explain in every single way. Bailey tells you all of the work that she did, and Detective Bailey tells you all of the work that he did. Ethan killed nobody, literally nobody in that movie. He was, like Jake said, he was the decoy. He was the kind of red herring. He was the one that was supposed to distract.
And I get it. Like, I get why they did that with his character. So I will say, here's my thing. I'm in a love-hate relationship with the three killers here because like I love that they did three killers and they all had a purpose. But yeah, some of them ended up being kind of lame, and it's like, I dig it. I was like, cool. That's sick that they did three killers. I'm like, hell yeah. But yeah, I mean, he does end up kind of being lame, but I love his kill. I love what they did there. Quinn's kill could have been cooler. They hot take, but they should have found a way to get her to push her off the fucking balcony and die somehow like that.
Yeah,
the shot in the head. I'm like, really? Like that's how we're killing one of our Ghostface killers? Okay, I guess, but that could have been more interesting to me. But Lightning Ghost is throwing $2 in there saying much love, guys. All the love, Lightning Ghost. Once again, Lightning Ghost threw a big old super chat in my stream earlier, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for hanging out and listening to our crazy ramblings about the about the movie. We're having a crazy conversation, though. I will say that this is some good stuff. I've been trying not to talk about all my gripes with the film more because like I really do love a lot of what this film did. But does it have issues? Yes, it has little things basically all over the place here and there. And to me, like my things about the issues with this movie is like, yes, it is abundant. Like there's a lot of little things that are like, that's a little weird, but it's nothing compared to some of the other movies, in my opinion. There's nothing in this movie that bugs me more than like just I'm sorry, but Mrs. Loomis bugs me so much. Like it's just like, why would they like? Oh, they had so many good things going on in that movie, and then they're focusing on this for some reason. What? I don't know. The cotton thing is so interesting. Mickey as a character, his motive is so interesting, and then it's like we're okay. No, none of that is important. Actually, let's focus on Billy's mom. To me, that bugs me way more than Scream 6 personally. But I don't know.
I mean, every Scream movie has its, like I've pointed out, like people think like I'm just bashing on Scream 6. I've bashed on Scream 5. I've said repeatedly, I don't like Scream 4. Like, I mean, it's not a bad movie, but like Scream 4, I don't like. Scream 3, I've talked about all this. I literally have a video breaking down. It's like a 30-minute video of all the issues in Scream 3. Every Scream movie except for 96, I have said has its issues. Scream 2 was a slow burn, like just like needed to move along at some points. There was a lot of issues. Like every Scream movie I have criticized.
But like, I love all of them. But I love every single one of them. You know, yeah.
Like this movie. It is one of the best. It is one of the best sequels we have gotten in the franchise. It might be my number 2 or 3 in this entire franchise. But it has a lot of blatant faults. But again,
it does. But I love it. Like
Scream 5, this is better than Scream 5 by far. And I said that like coming out of the theater, I was like, this is better than Scream 5, but I have a lot of issues with it. Like this movie is flawed. But when you, again, us as YouTubers though, it's our job. If every movie I tell you there is like, it was perfect, nothing wrong with it, I'm not doing my job as somebody that you confide in and listen to for their, thoughts and opinion. Like I can't just say every single movie is just a perfect, flawless movie. I have to relay the things that I felt were wrong. You got to give constructive criticism. If I'm just, every video is just like, this is the greatest thing ever, there's nothing wrong with it, 10 out of 10, no flaws, no nothing, then I'm not doing my audience a fair service. Because now, and people won't take me serious when I do say something. People look at it as like, oh, well, like every movie to him is just great. Every movie to him is brilliant. No, even Oscar-winning films, have had problems and issues,
I've gotten a little meaner with my reviews. Not meaner. That's not the right word. I've gotten a little more critical in my reviews because people are like, Jake just likes everything. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like every review I have ever done, I've pointed out something wrong with the movie, even if I loved it. Like even in my Scream 6 review, I'm like, yeah, killers are pretty obvious. Like I said that right out the gate. That was after my first viewing. I was fucking hyped on the movie too. And I was like, I loved it, but the killers are very obvious in my opinion. Like and I think there was an attempt, you know what I mean? There was definitely care, and they tried to make something really fun and original with the mystery, but it's probably like, I don't know. I don't like the Roman mystery at all, personally. Like hot take, I don't care for it at all. But
they did a terrible job building that.
It's horrible. Like it's a horrible buildup.
It was so bad they had to spend 10 minutes explaining it all to you. That's That's when you know something is bad. Because the whole point of a movie is to build and establish the clues for you. So once it gets revealed at the end, you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. That like even Sydney says, who are you?
Right.
Even
it should be hidden in plain sight. You know what I mean? Like it should be. Exactly. It's got to be hidden in plain sight. If you don't do that,
no build up, no nothing, literally.
So I will say this is a weaker mystery, but at the end of the day, this movie did so many very fun things to surprise us. I love it, but yeah, out the gate, I was like, yeah, there are some issues with this film. Like it's not a perfect movie. I still had a blast with it though, but that's okay. None of the Scream movies are perfect, as Gerald Crowder is pointing out here. This is the same series where people get killed by getting lifted up by garage doors. There is no way in hell that would actually happen. Like, listen, if you are pissed,
I actually made a video breaking down the science to that. Like, literally, I have a video on my channel.
There's no way. Like, what?
The garage door thing.
Yeah,
like, it's essentially impossible.
But with all that being said,
it was awesome.
Tatum's kill is one of the best kills in the whole franchise. Without it, I fucking love it. Is it realistic? No, but it's exactly what this franchise has been doing since the very beginning. We are sacrificing realism for a crazy kill. We would have, listen, if this movie was realistic, I guess a little more realistic, is Ghostface would have just stabbed her in the garage, and it would have just been a stab, kill, okay, whatever, move on. probably would have been a little forgettable. But because they did do this crazy shit, that's what elevates it. And Scream 6 kind of took that to a new degree, and people hate it. People are like, no, that fucking sucks. And I'm like, dog, what? Like, this franchise has always done that, and that's awesome. I don't know. I love what this movie brought to the table. We are doing some weird fucking shit, and dude, the next movie, I don't know what the fuck we're getting. Like, I am in this weird space right now where I'm like, I genuinely don't know what the future of this franchise looks like, and that is like, that's chef's kiss. Hell yeah, baby. Like, that's what I want. I don't want to expect the same old. That sucks. When you get into that, when you get into Fast and Furious territory where it's just, okay, we're going to get the same thing again. Vin Diesel's going to drive a fast car. He's going to beat the villain. Cool, whatever. I don't know what the fuck's coming next. I couldn't tell you. I don't think anybody is even close to what the fuck is coming next. And that's great. That is exactly what I wanted for this franchise more than anything. And Scream 6 delivered on that. It's very fresh. It opens up doorways to crazier shit in the future. Is it perfect? No, but it opens up so many doors. We are blasting doors open with this franchise, and we're gonna get something fucking weird next. And some people are gonna hate it, and that's totally fine. But I have a feeling I'm gonna dig it. That's just me. That's just me personally. I don't know. I'm so pumped for it. Fate. I'm gonna be honest. I'm fucking exhausted. I think I'm gonna end the stream. That was my last little burst of energy there. But
your last little rant, no problem.
That was my last little rant. Do you have anything else you want to say about Scream 6, or you want to plug anything you're doing tonight? I don't know, man. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I have my Lakers stream after the game tonight, so that'll be fun. But outside of that, as far as like Scream 6 goes, again, I enjoy the movie. I think it's one of the better movies, right? But there's just so many clear, blatant flaws. But again, all of them have clear, blatant flaws. All of them. Like, they all have issues. Like, 96, they have the garage scene, right? It's just, it's can you look past those or not? This is what it boils down to. Me, yeah. I can, like, from a fan perspective, and like a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you say you're a Scream fan, why you have so much criticism? Because like, I'm also a YouTuber that I'm in a position to relay that information. Like
criticism is a love language too. Nobody realizes that. Like everyone thinks, oh, you're criticizing things. You're just hating on it. No, like dog, you love this franchise so much to the point where you want it to be the very best it can be. And you have this other vision that might've been better. You know what I mean? That is what being a reviewer is all about, and I think you do that really well.
No one will respect you if you can't be honest. You have to be you have to be honest. Everybody wants honesty until you're honest. Everybody says, give me the truth. I can handle it. I can take it. Tell me how you really feel. And then somebody tells you how they really feel. And it's like, oh, how dare you? And it's like, well, don't ask. Dude.
Listen, man. We're writing a feature length movie right now. I don't want to talk too much about it because we're keeping it all under wraps. But like, man, I will tell you, we're fucking brutal with each other. Like, if something doesn't work in one of our scripts or whatever, because we're all kind of writing it together, we will be like, that fucking sucks. Change it. Like, we're so straight up, and I don't take offense to it. Like, my friends have told me this fucking sucks. Change this, and I'm like, okay, I'm changing.
That's how it should be.
And it's not. Yeah, it's not. I don't take offense to it. It's just we all want this to be the very best it can be. Of course, why? We're not gonna just get in a room and be like, God damn, oh my, like Jake, that was the best thing I've ever read in my life. No flaws. Keep that first draft. That's fine. No, your first draft is always gonna suck. Except that. Except that the first time you write something, you put something to the page, it's gonna fucking blow. So do it again. Keep doing it. Keep doing it until you're happy with it. You gotta
be able to be honest, right? You gotta be able to
be honest.
Have those communications, because again, nobody will take you serious. There are plenty of YouTubers that will, if their entire audience says like they love something, all of a sudden they're, oh, I love it too. I saw it a second time and it was perfect. You guys are all right. I ain't that guy. You want the honest truth, I'll give you the honest truth. If you want somebody that when they're, I mean, I got killed for saying that.
I still love it though, man. Like I will watch this movie 100 more times. I like the movie. Like, damn.
I said in both my out of my theater review and on top of that, in my non-spoiler review, I say I like the movie. I probably put this up as one of them. It might be my second or my favorite sequel next to 96. But here are the issues that I have with it. But here's the thing that I think is hilarious. For an entire year, I said if this, and this happen, I am going to lose my shit. And guess what? This, and this happened. And now everyone's fucking shocked that I'm like, I hated this, I hated this, I hated this. And people are like, how can you not? It's like, if you've watched my channel last fucking year, you know. Like, I told you, if they did the same thing that they did in fucking Scream 2, I was going to say I wouldn't like it. They did it. They did it better. I agree. They did a much better job setting up, but it was still the same fucking thing. Like, I think it's like, God.
Well, clearly you're a fake fan.
Like
I mean,
it's hilarious.
God, you don't like anything that the new Scream.
Like that. I get so many comments like that. Look, I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny, but it's just silly. Like, like
no,
you can't love something to the point of delusion. You can't love something to the point of delusion.
No, you're absolutely right. I just, like, me personally, the reason I came out the gate just loving this thing, like, because I even said it in my first review. I'm like, this isn't a perfect movie, but I fucking love it. To me, the good outweighs the bad, because now we have a very bright future of crazy Scream films, and this is just what I've always wanted. Like, I love the Scream scene. I really do. I love every single Scream movie I do, but I've just always felt like they could take this to new, crazier levels, and we've come very close to that. We have come very close to that many times before, and I've just never felt like we've reached that in any of the sequels until now. Like, now I'm like, okay, now we're trying some new things. Ghostface is so goofy to the point where we got a movie that has a movie franchise of parodies where we're in the first one, we are making fun of Ghostface because he's so goofy and sloppy and slipping in beer and slip and sliding. It's funny. It's goofy to watch. That, however you feel about the original Scream, there's a lot of goofiness to it, and I love that. Yeah. I think it's the camp is wonderful, but we got to move past that. We gotta get on to.
No, I agree. I liked the tone of this film,
this was so much darker. This was dark Scream. Yes, it
was. And the pace of this film was really good. Scream 5 was a blur.
Yes.
Scream 5, like, I liked the darker tones. I liked the faster pace, but it was too fast at times. This one really kind of balanced. Like, I thought it was very smooth, very watchable. You got to immerse yourself in the scenes that you needed to immerse yourself in. You got some awesome moments, some awesome deaths, like all of that stuff. I love it. But it's just,
Yeah. So like was it the most, like, what was it? Am I going to stroke this movie's wiener? Like, no, listen, I loved it, and I love what it did for this franchise, but it's not a perfect film. I still love it. I love Radio Silence. I love every movie they've ever made. Like, I really do. I think these guys are awesome. They were YouTubers once too, and they're making movies. It's my fucking dream come true. They're awesome. I love these guys so much. So of course I'm going to be a little biased and root for them, of course, but I still, like, is there problems with it? Yes. And I think there is still room for improvement in this franchise, but I'm telling you, we can make a sequel that is as good as the original. That can still fucking happen. I'm betting on it, and it can happen if someone gets in there and takes the right ideas and moves and just blows that out of the fucking water. They can do that. Like, I'm telling you, it's possible, because they can make a Scream film that is so fucking dark and fucked up, but also has that fun, campy tone to it. It is possible. I'm telling you. All right, I got it out of my system.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, oh God. Oh, okay, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate it. Join us for Lethal Collective Mondays, where we take your questions and then we maybe answer them. So stop on by. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And as always, the collective has spoken. Peace out.
Peace.